after missing yesterday with an illness. Now, if there's any comfort for the 2-0 Ravens with these injuries, it's that they've been here before with no drop-off. It's a credit to the talented depth they've built on this roster.
They've been considering themselves a starter every day in practice from day one and preparing as such, and then therefore when their opportunity comes, you know, they're ready. What's the old saying? When preparation meets opportunity, that's the formula for success, right? It's kind of it's a truism, you know, and I think those guys have shown that.
Another optimistic spin on the bad injury news. At least these Ravens backups are getting full weeks of practice with the ones and not getting thrown to the fire mid-game.
He's always prepared as a starter. That's how I think about it being here, you know. And they harp on that. You know, they tell everyone, no matter where you are on the depth chart, whatever it is, you know, you just get ready if your name's ever gets called. Because I mean, this game's an injury league, so you never know what's going to happen.
The Ravens aren't alone in the injury department. The Colts have been without their starting quarterback Anthony Richardson this week at practice. The rookie, who is tied at the top of the league for rushing touchdowns this season, is in concussion protocol. It's looking more and more like the Ravens will face his backup, veteran Gardner Minshew. Reporting in Owings Mills, I'm Morgan Adsit for Sports Unlimited.
Coming up on Fox 45 News at 6 o'clock, the confirmation hearing for Acting Police Commissioner Richard Worley is underway. We'll have details. And when your car is stolen, how do you get it back? Fox 45 News hears from victims who say having their car returned is only the first step in fixing their problem.
Two hearings happening right now at City Hall. Fox 45 is bringing you the latest on the confirmation hearings for top officials in Baltimore's police and fire departments. Could the rise in auto thefts across the state impact your car insurance rates? The financial impact some victims are already feeling.
And we are tracking the next weather maker moving in. It could have some tropical implications as well as gusty winds, heavy rain, maybe even some coastal flooding. I'm going to let you know when it's worst. My Weather Authority forecast.
Live from WBFF in Baltimore, this is Fox 45 News at 6.
And you are taking a live look right now inside City Hall, where a major step is happening for the future of Baltimore City. Both the fire department and police department moving forward and potentially locking in permanent leadership tonight. Right now, Acting Police Commissioner Richard Worley is set to appear before the City Council for his confirmation hearing. Good evening, everybody. I'm Mary Bubala. Thank you for staying with us. Fox 45 tonight, also following the confirmation hearing for Acting Fire Chief James Wallace. That is set to happen right after Worley's hearing. Well, today's hearings come after Baltimore's Board of Estimates put the brakes on new contracts yesterday for both Worley and Wallace. They will wait to vote on the contracts until after the two leaders are officially confirmed. So far, Acting Commissioner Worley has laid out his goals for the department, addressing staffing shortages, and he faced questioning about the rise in auto thefts and on community policing.
We're not, I'm just going to say, we're likely not ever going to get to the staffing level that has been articulated, because this is a national issue and not just because of us. So we need alternatives. So I'm wondering if you can talk about your strategy for getting to that 40% community policing.
We're going to put mandates for the officers to dedicate time to walking foot. There are going to be times where they're going to have to get out of the car. One of the things that we talked about at the consent decree hearing today is officers use what was called directed patrol. So what that usually meant is that they would drive through an area for 15 or 20 minutes and count that as a proactive. That is going away. We will not do that any longer.
Well, the council is also considering the confirmation of Acting Fire Chief James Wallace. Mayor Scott nominated him to lead the department in July. He's been with the department for more than 30 years and follows Chief Niles Ford, who stepped down late last year following a scathing report on the department. Worley's hearing got underway at around 5. Wallace's hearing is scheduled for 6:30. Fox 45 News will bring you more on both hearings tonight on Fox 45 News at 10. You can also see our reporting online at foxbaltimore.com.
And we're following breaking news. An armed group of young people being accused of carjacking an Anne Arundel County woman. This is what we've learned. Police say it happened last night outside of Glen Burnie Giant. Now, the victim says she was outside her car when she was approached by several juveniles. She says they demanded money and a ride to Baltimore, but she refused. Police say the group then forced her at knife point into her car and to drive to a location in Baltimore. Apparently, once they arrived in Baltimore, the victim told police that she pulled out her own knife to defend herself, and the kids ran. Neither the victim nor the suspects was hurt. Anyone with information is asked to call police. Fox 45's Vincent Hill is following this story. He'll have the latest tonight on Fox 45 News at 10. Mary?
Kai, thank you. The rise in car thefts is impacting communities across our state, and even if your car is not stolen, you could end up feeling the impact. Experts say auto thefts are contributing to the nationwide rise in insurance rates. Fox 45's Alexa Ashwell has the latest on how these thefts are costing some drivers hundreds, if not thousands of dollars.
Some drivers are already paying hundreds of dollars for car insurance. Those rates are going up. On top of that, imagine having a plan that actually doesn't cover auto theft, no coverage at all, or a hefty deductible. Countless victims are finding themselves out thousands of dollars, and some still without a car. Victim.
They just hopped out the car and just stole it.
After victim.
All the windows were broken.
After victim.
The dude sped off in my car.
And each one feeling the financial impact. The number of auto thefts are spiking across the country. Here in Baltimore, by more than 220% compared to this time last year. So far this year, statistics show there have been more than 7,700 auto thefts reported across the city. That averages out to about 29 thefts a day, or more than one car an hour.
It's frustrating, you know, I have to go through all this other extra financial situations with this.
Including insurance. Those without comprehensive auto insurance or any insurance are finding themselves out thousands of dollars because the policy doesn't cover auto theft. A local insurance broker weighs in.
Unfortunately, in a lot of cases, some of our clients do only have liability. So in those cases, they don't have coverage. Some of the time the vehicles are recovered. Other times the vehicles are involved in accidents or just never recovered.
But even those with a policy that covers auto theft are feeling the pinch. There's the cost of your deductible, what you pay out of pocket before insurance covers its portion. And simply filing a claim can cause your premium to go up. Over the phone, one woman says she's opting to pay out of pocket after suspects targeted her car here in the city.
We just ended up having to pay the money out the pocket to get the window fixed. We still haven't got the ignition fixed because if we report it to our car insurance, it's like our premium is going to go up, even though it's not even our fault.
Nationwide, experts say insurance rates are rising by upwards of 20%, mostly due to the increased cost of living, but also due to this dramatic spike in auto thefts. And if you live in Baltimore City, experts say drivers on average were already paying about 10% more to have their car insured compared to neighboring counties.
It definitely is impacting our clients. Some people are even selling their cars because they can't afford their insurance at this point. And the ones that do still have insurance, I mean, they are paying a lot more than they were even just a year or 2 years ago.
Experts don't see rates going down anytime soon, but warn having no coverage at all is not the solution. Alexa Ashwell, Fox 45 News.
With nearly 8,000 cars stolen so far this year, what happens to those cars? Where do they end up once they're dumped by the thieves? Today, Fox 45 crews headed to the city's main impound lot in East Baltimore, just off Pulaski Highway. It's unknown how long those cars may have been in the lot and how many of them are due to the alarming rise in car theft citywide. Earlier this month, a Riverside Park woman shared her story with us after her Hyundai was stolen. She spoke about her visit to this impound lot after her stolen car was found dumped in White Marsh.
It did take multiple days where I had to take hours off in the middle of the day just to take care of something, whether it be paperwork or going to the impound and waiting in line with the whole Baltimore public that was also waiting for their cars. In the impound, the Baltimore City impound lot, if you do visit it, you'll notice that there's like sections specifically for Hyundais and Kias that were smashed, and I'm just lucky that my vehicle wasn't one of those.
Well, today we asked both Baltimore Police and the city's Department of Transportation how many stolen cars are at city impound lots right now. How long does it take for a stolen car to be released from impound? And are owners of stolen cars being asked to pay for vehicles to be released? So far, we haven't heard back. The cost of running Baltimore city government continues to increase despite the city's population declining. Fox 45's Mackenzie Frost has some new reporting about the number of employees inside City Hall.
From 2013 to last year, the number of general government employees increased nearly 20%, but the mayor's office says that doesn't mean government jobs overall increased as well. The 2022 annual financial report details employment data in Baltimore City. Taking a deeper dive, you'll find the number of city employees rising, even with people leaving Baltimore. According to the report, 1,674 people were on the city's payroll as general government workers in 2013. Last year, that number was 2,005. That's just under a 20% increase, even though the population as of July 1st of 2022, more than 52,000 people fewer than in 2013. The cost for general government increasing almost 45% in the same time frame, despite general government revenues increasing only 8%.
I don't think that residents are getting not even a bang for their buck. They're not even getting the services that they need.
Eurypsia Morgan, a community activist, says given the city's track record with subpar city services, Baltimoreans aren't seeing the full potential of their tax dollars.
When we hire employees, we expect them to do the job. And I think it'd be very difficult to find people who at this time, residents, right, contractors, people who work with city government, who will tell you that they are finding it easy to work within the city government.
This isn't the first time City Hall expansion raised concerns.
There's been exponential growth within that agency.
The mayor's Office of Neighborhood Safety and Engagement grew from inception in 2020 to 45 employees now, with most of the funding for Monzi stemming from one-time federal COVID dollars.
It's not a sustainable funding source. So that functionality that's being built up, we're going to have to find a way to fund that in the future. So that's something that's definitely of concern.
Fox 45 News questioning Mayor Brandon Scott about why the number of city employees seems to be increasing. The mayor's office pushing back on the premise that City Hall is growing, telling Fox 45 News in a statement the number of all government employees is down to 13,747 compared to the 14,764 in 2013. But again, the number of general government employees remains higher than it did nearly a decade ago. The report also outlines outlines the biggest employers in the city. You can find that information in this story on our website at foxbaltimore.com. In the newsroom, Mackenzie Frost, Fox 45 News.
Well, heavy rain is on the way. You can see on the left a tropical storm system making its way up the coast toward the mid-Atlantic. This weekend, we could see multiple inches of rain in Maryland. Meteorologist Jonathan Myers in now with the very latest.
Yeah, we are tracking that system as it makes a move northbound. There are tropical storm warnings all the way up to the extreme lower eastern shore and down the ocean toward Ocean City. There's the system beginning to really get going. You see all the thunderstorms, the bright reds, the yellows. That's all cold, high cloud tops. That's indicative of a strengthening system. Still hasn't really fully gotten its circulation yet, but it probably will. And this is why it's a potential tropical cyclone right now, but it will eventually likely become a subtropical or tropical storm. That would be Ophelia and impact us over the weekend. Lots of rain and wind. I'm going to let you know where it's going to be worst and when. My Weather Authority forecast.
Jonathan, thank you. Coming up, a North Carolina family files a lawsuit against Google. Why they claim one of the company's apps led to a man's death.
Thousands of auto workers getting laid off less than a week into the UAW strike. I'm Atra Al-Nashar with more on the economic impact.
United Auto Workers and the big three automakers are up against a deadline of noon Friday to make progress in their contract negotiations. If they don't, the union plans to send more workers on strike. National correspondent Atra Al-Nashar reports on the strike's economic impact that's already affecting thousands of workers.
More than 2,000 General Motors and Stellantis workers have been told they're out of a job for now due to the United Auto Workers strike disrupting the supply chain. Ford laid off 600 last week. This from targeted strikes at just 3 plants. More could soon be affected.
We're going to keep hitting the company where we need to, when we need to.
It's not just the big 3 automakers feeling the brunt. LM Manufacturing, which makes seats for Ford, temporarily laid off 650 workers in Detroit. Glenn Stevens, executive director of the state industry group, Mish Auto, spoke with suppliers Wednesday night.
They're already looking at how do we preserve cash and cut back. And that includes salary workforce. The supply base is very fragile and things are tenuous right now.
He says the tight labor market fuels their biggest concern.
If you have to let go workforce or you have to lay workforce off, you might not get them back because they have other options.
The strike even has the attention of the Federal Reserve. Chair Jerome Powell says it could affect economic output and inflation.
But that's really going to depend on how broad it is and how long it's sustained for. And then it also depends on how quickly production can make up for lost production.
Anderson Economic Group estimates a 10-day strike could cost the economy $5 billion. The White House no longer sending 2 administration officials to Detroit to help in negotiations. Director of Labor Studies at Cornell University, Art Wheaton, says it's clear why neither side wanted their involvement.
So under the Private Sector National Labor Relations Act for the auto workers, there is no role for the president or Congress at the bargaining table.
When asked about this on Thursday, the White House noted the president's been in contact with each of the parties in recent weeks and sees the fact that they're all still negotiating as a positive. In Washington, I'm Atrell Nashar, Fox 45 News.
Well, Google tonight is facing a lawsuit from the family of a North Carolina man who died last year after driving off a collapsed bridge that wasn't marked or barricaded. The family claims it was Google Maps that led the man to drive across that bridge.
Phil had no idea that for 9 years, there was a 20-foot canyon in the middle of the road, in the middle of a residential neighborhood. For years, Google attempted to lead people over a collapsed bridge despite being notified by users of this exact danger.
Impossible to comprehend how those responsible could have just such disregard.
Attorneys for the family claim Google ignored multiple warnings from several people to update Google Maps and mark the bridge as closed. In the meantime, friends of the family have placed barricades near the accident site to prevent anybody else from trying to cross.
Fox Triplecast this evening showing, well, a lot of sunshine on the Toyota East Unit Harbor Sky Cam and the Mine 1000 Cam, but there, oh, you see it. The latest weather maker that's moving our way, and it will likely make for a weekend mess. Storm moves in Friday night and intensifies in terms of impact, I think, during the day on Saturday night, even into early Sunday. Heavy rain potential, could see at least 1 to 3 inches of rain. Winds gusting 30 to 45 miles an hour, maybe greater south. And even some coastal flooding potential. This thing's going to be at least a semi-tropical type of system, so it will have a little bit of storm surge up the bay, maybe about 1 to 3 feet of storm surge. That will be on top of tides, so especially places like Annapolis, there could be some moderate coastal flooding we're watching. Tropical storm warnings run all the way from about Ocean City in the extreme lower eastern shore down south towards the Carolina coastline and almost into Georgia. That's because of that latest weather maker, again, forming down to the south. Big, broad circulation that is tightening up gradually. Could become tropical storm or subtropical storm Ophelia in the next 24 hours, and then moves its way into the coastal Carolinas. Spend some time over land. That's good news for us. It will weaken a little bit, and then could just douse us, I think, Saturday night into Sunday, with some good wind up to about 30, 35 miles an hour and some rain up to about 1 to 2, maybe locally 3 inches around here. We have had some antecedent or prior dry conditions, so we need some rain, just don't need it all at once. So we don't have flood watches out just yet. All right, taking a look at the forecasted wind speeds out of our computer models, anywhere up to about 50, 55 mile an hour winds down towards St. Mary's County. Around here locally, though, especially near the bay, could be 30, 45 miles an hour. The worst of that happening Saturday into Sunday morning, and then it looks like that should alleviate a bit during the day on Sunday. That coastal flood watch in effect for Anne Arundel County. That is going to be for Saturday night. Now you take a look outside, gorgeous at Middle River, but that's going to be a totally different story as we head into the weekend. Take a look. Future scan overnight into early tomorrow morning. Temperature settling down into the 50s to near 60. There's your grayer day on Friday, and the rain moves in Friday night and just lasts all day Saturday and potentially showers all day Sunday as well. But again, Saturday night, the worst of this coming through. I'll let you know when it gets out of here. My exclusive 10-day forecast.
Weather Window, presented by the National Weather Desk.
Fall is fog season in many parts of the country, and since fall starts early Saturday morning, this picture of a foggy sunrise in North Carolina is right on time. The morning sun brightened the Grand Tetons in the National Park this morning, and thick high-level cirrus clouds are already overspreading the nation's capital ahead of what will be a weekend washout from potential tropical or subtropical storm Ophelia.
For more content like this, follow the National Weather Desk on Instagram.
Starting in just 10 days, federal student loan repayments will resume following a 3-year pause. Aaron Wise with our Sinclair sister station in Birmingham, Alabama, sharing what you need to know before October 1st.
Things have changed a lot in the economy since the pause started. Things like housing and groceries and lettuce cost a lot more than they did pre-COVID.
Betsy Mayotte is the president of the Institute of Student Loan Advisors. She says because of these changes, someone whose payment may have once been affordable may not be now. All federal borrowers, new and old, need to know how much they have in loans and who their loan provider is. This can be found on your federal student aid account. That website also has a loan simulator tool that shows monthly payment options for different plans. If it is affordable for you, Mayotte says the best way to pay less money over time is paying more as quickly as possible.
Take a look at the budget and see if there are places where you can find an extra, even if it's just $5 or $10 a month. That can save you a lot of money in the long term.
If it isn't affordable, there are many repayment plans, including income-driven options. Mayotte also recommends automatic payments as another cost-saving measure.
Doing so not only helps keep you on time, but you get a 0.25% discount on your interest rate.
Dr. Stephanie Yates with UAB's Colat School of Business says understanding your financial situation is key.
Whether it's a line item budget where you're listing out every single source of income and every single expense that you have, or if it's those groupings of this is the really important high priority stuff, this is the next priority, and then this is what I'm going to do with the money that's left over. Either way, this, as you're preparing for those student loan repayments to kick in, this is a great time to do that type of analysis.
Exclusive 10-day forecast includes a big weekend mess from potential tropical cyclone number 16, 77 tomorrow. Good day to prepare. Clouds will increase, maybe clear out those catch basins and also maybe trim down some of those loose branches that may be hanging. We're at 69, rain, wind, even a little bit of limited coastal flooding going on.